Let me tell you about the whitest hack you'll ever know. Stick around. Hi folks, Old Man Grognard here. Today we're going to look at a very interesting role-playing game based on Zero Edition with its own quirks, and it's called The Whitehack. This is the second edition, published in 2015. There was one in 2013. This is the one currently being sold. It is 64 pages, and it's by a gentleman by the name of Christian Mehrstam. Its roots are in the three brown books, as I've said, and this is what the booklet version looks like right here. 64 pages. And it's got a few noteworthy things in it. First of all, as far as the game system goes, it kind of breaks down and simplifies some things, and some things might take a little bit of understanding, but once they work, they look like they work very well. As far as what dice you use D6s and D20s. That's it. Okay? And there is one saving throw, usually based on strength. You're rolling low in this game. You're rolling under things. Well, there's kind of extenuating circumstances. I'll get to that in a minute. But classes, you have the Brave class, the Fortunate class, and the Species class. I'm sorry, the Brave, Fortunate, and the Deft class. I was looking at the wrong place in my notes. And these are more like broad categories about what your character is about rather than what his class is, because you can have a strong fighter or a wise fighter or a deft fighter or thief or magic user or sage or whatever. And it all comes with certain pluses or minuses to it. For instance, like a deft character has more chance of succeeding in tasks and things than other characters. The wise class is the ones that use magic, which they call miracles in this game, by the way, which is kind of a catch-all. But those are the three basic ones. They have three optional ones later, but like I said, later. They have a groups system. What it is you describe your character as a group. Everybody has two groups to start with, and you gain them as you go up level, which, by the way, this game goes up to level 10. And it can be a race, an occupation, or an affiliation. So you can have a strong dwarf fighter, a wise elf mage. Okay? And that also includes affiliations. So if you have like a barbarian that belongs to the Order of the Bloody Goblet, you know, that will be... All these things help because they add into the 6 stats you have. Like you can add affiliations to things like strength. Like say Order of the Bloody Cup. You're a barbarian, Order of the Bloody Cup gives you a plus in strength because you put it under there. So basically that lets you roll positive. Rolling positive and rolling negative is another way of saying advantage, disadvantage. You roll 2d6, you take the best. Disadvantage, you roll, negative, you roll 2d6, take the worst. Certain situations and things let you do that. There is, like I said, one saving throw versus strength. The combat mechanic and the task resolution mechanic is easy. You roll under your whatever stat it is. And if you have affiliations and groups, you get advantage. You may be able to roll it to advantage, things like that. But as far as combat goes, I forget what they call it, but I call it the over and under system. Because what you're doing is trying to roll under your, I believe, strength for melee and dex for ranged attacks. But that's mitigated. You have an attack value. And that's mitigated by the opponent's armor class. So in the example in here, they give you a attack value of 14 fighter with a +1 sword, which would make it 15, versus a goblin with an armor class of 3. And this is ascending armor class, by the way. So you would subtract 3, and you've got to roll between 4 and 15. You roll under 4, you miss him because of his armor class. You roll over 15, you miss because that's over your stat. That's over your attack value. And that's what you want to get right there. Like I said, an over and under system. I know it's a little confusing, but once you get it down, it looks like it goes great. There's also things in here called auctions. Auctions are good for things like, they look great for like chases and things like this. You roll, your opponent rolls a d6 and you don't show it to him. Then you start bidding on how much it'll take for you to make the roll. And when the bidding's over, you reveal whatever you roll on the d6 and you add that. And then you try and roll. So I can bid a 4 and I add that to a d6 and I got to get in this range. The other guy rolls a 3. And you got to make the roll. I mean, you still got to make the roll. And even in some cases, the game master rolls with you, depending on if it's the circumstances. Like you're chasing them through an alley or something. And you can role play. You can describe why, what's going on. And that kind of mitigates things like chases, contests, playing chess, gambling. That's a natural right there, gambling. And it's kind of, I find it a little fascinating. The magic system is kind of an improv thing because you're working with the game master saying, I want to do this. And this is how I describe it. And, and then you guys, it's going to cost you hit points to throw magic. They do have a chart in here outlining like the nine or 10 levels of spells from other sources that could help you out there, but it's mostly like improv. And then he described, you negotiate like the price, you negotiate what you want to do, how far it goes, what's the radius, all this other stuff, and then you go. Personally, not my cup of tea. But some people like it. And here's what the book looks like. By the way, there are no illustrations, but they do have everything you need in there and charts. And this has a pretty good following. A lot of people have done a lot. They say it's very, very flexible. If you notice the reason you have the D6, one of the reasons you have the D6 is because all the weapons are D6, and some are pluses and minuses, but it's all D6 based. Here's the character sheet. That's it for the character sheet. And they give you 2 adventures in here based on a world they came up with. Monsters are usually based on hit dice and armor class. They give you a nice list of monsters. Any special abilities, you just go, okay, it does this. And there may be a roll involved. There may be a saving throw involved. You never know. Cool. If I got a monster, I can just write down like that and just go. I'll do it. So there's no problem there. In the final analysis for me, I'd love to try it out, but I don't know if I can make a steady diet of it. If you can get it down, if you can actually get it down, it'd be great to carry around in your game bag. Saying, okay, I got Whitehack, let's use it. I mean, there's other hacks out there like I reviewed the black hack, and there's the blue hack, and this, that, and they're all based on the premise of let's break this down simply and go. But that doesn't mean they can't be a little innovative like this. I find this somewhat innovative. Now, it's like I said, it's a little intimidating to read because of the way it's laid out. It's laid out like looks like a doctor's thesis publishing for the medical field. But other than that, I'm not going to knock it because it's got some really interesting ideas in here that I'd like to try out. And there's a couple of things I'd like to try. I like the auction system. I'd like to try that out in like Savage Worlds or even D&D for things like, because I'm always looking at how do you run a chase. It's always there's systems out there, but they always seem kind of cumbersome. This might work. You can do the auction thing in so many rounds because if you want a quick chase, say if you're chasing somebody across town, they've got a cart and they're going, and you're on horseback and you're chasing them around town. You can go like, okay, 3 or 5 rounds or something like that, and you just keep bidding and bidding, and you can go like, okay, you get here, you almost got there, and, and that kind of thing. And there's nothing saying you can't do like combat and stuff in between the rounds. So it's kind of fascinating to me. Like I said, my philosophy is there is no useless game books. You can always get something out of a game book, either an idea or a system or something. And people who play this, they love it. You may love it. Give it a try. One of the downsides is there's no PDF. The screenshots I showed you, I scanned out of this book. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but there it is. But also, it's also reasonably priced. Like this. This is the booklet version, $10. They have a hardback version, about this size too, $20. They also come in a notebook version. It comes in a notebook version with the entire text in a notebook with paper in the back and specially made to whatever you're going to do with it. So you have like a binder with it in there. Now, I wouldn't go that far because, like I said, I don't know if I would use this. If I was using this on a regular basis, and people do, I would get the notebook version, or at least the hardbound version, because it's just, it's a good system. I think I like it. I mean, I like it. I don't like it well enough to give it up for D&D and stuff, but I like it for like every once in a while, like a one-shot or convention use. Convention use is good for like pickup games. You're it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you guys don't want to go to bed. Hey, you want to play some Whitehack? Sure. Okay, fine. On the back, they give you a couple of pages here with just random numbers for a D6 and a D20. If you don't have the dice, you can take a pencil and spin it. Come up with I don't know how you do that, but it looks interesting. Anyway, the print is from Lulu. I will give you the information down there for how to get it, because it's the easiest is to go to the Whitehack website and then just click on the links, go to Lulu that way. So, if you're using Whitehack, or you've seen Whitehack, or you want to talk about Whitehack, you can always email me at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So, until next time, bye-bye.